Okay, the manticore is now out of our way. Now we just go right up here and equip our little silk robe that we found. This bad boy gives us a whole higher set of intelligence, which boosts our strength of the abilities. So now we can do more damage with the attacks that we do. Here we'll find a whole bunch of ghost dancers just flying around. They're not that much trouble, but they can be a little pain when you're trying to glide across the room. And of course on the bottom we've got a Quetzalcoatl, so there you go. Another one of those annoying little buggers. I can't remember if the rock armor gives you an ability or not. I thought every monster did, but I just don't remember what we got from them. The tiny devils will give you some type of blade ability where you'll be able to shoot little crescent slices out from your sword, and it's not too bad of an attack, but it's, you know, it's a little costly for it. If you can get in close and hit them with all three blades, it can deal some ton damage, but you have to be in very close for that to pull off. Watch this. I'm just going to come back here and slay that little monster just because I feel like it. Yeah, I know, I'm not really paying attention to my health very much, but again, you know, this is normal mode. I can't quite reach there yet. I need the double jump to get there. The Student Witch will drop you the ability to summon a cat. And shockingly, for a little cat that runs across the room, that's one of the best abilities in the game because it can deal tons of damage, especially among stationary enemies and large ones. You'd be surprised at how much damage you can pull out by that. By the way, we've got ourselves a stronger weapon now with the sword. That helps close the damage gap between what we had with the rapier and the combat knife. Durgas, I believe, dropped the katana ability. That's a pretty good ability. It just shoots his katana straight out like an arrow. Deals some pretty good damage. A little costly though, but as you level up, it becomes no problem at all. You'll get other abilities that are better than it though. Here we get an uncurse potion, so we're going to start encountering enemies that can curse you. What curse does is it drains you of all your MP and keeps it down to 0 for quite a while. That can get very annoying because it forces you to stay into one pattern of attack, and that is with your basic weapon. Now, if you get a good basic weapon, that's really not too much of a trouble, but if you rely on your abilities heavily, then it can be very costly. That ledge we're going to need the double jump with, along with pushing the crate over to reach it. So we'll push this down here. I can't remember if the double jump will reach here. No, doesn't look like it. I'll have to come back. Yep, I'll need the double jump for that. And here's what I was talking about. Those ectoplasms, those guys will curse you if they're allowed to touch you. It can be very annoying and troublesome. Be careful when you're on this little ox creature. It can still damage you. You can stand on it. It usually won't hurt you. If you're in the wrong area, like right there, it'll damage you. Also, its breath can turn you to stone, and that can be quite annoying. Ho ho, we've got ourselves the cat ability. They name the abilities after the monster that you kill. This is one of my favorite abilities to use. It's not all that costly either. Here we meet another character in the game. She's a good girl though. And you're going to find out that she actually warns you about Graham Jones, that he's really trouble. Of course, you probably figured that out already. Again, the story is very linear and basic, not all that captivating. Symphony of the Night had a better story that brought you into it. I don't know if it was the voice acting, the talking that actually did it, but just reading this basic text is more than less annoying, but it's just trying to provide a flavor as to why you're here. Again, games are no longer relying on, oh wow, I found a castle, I think I'll explore it that has monsters and bad guys. It kind of provides a little bit of a context to, what you're doing here, traversing Dracula's castle. So we get the kind of impression that Soma's a naive, innocent man who just happens to possess the dark powers of Dracula. Go figure. Okay, there we're going to need the slide ability to get that item. That's just a book. But eventually we'll find the other copies to it later on. And again, look at the damage that I'm pulling off with that cat. Again, the cat can really whack up the damage when you're able to get a stationary monster like that or get it backed up into a corner. Here, I'll be honest with you, I can't remember which way to go. I think I'll go up and to the right. But if I'm not mistaken, yeah, okay, never mind. Alright, great, great, great. So there's the boss over to the left. I think I'll go over here first. Whenever you encounter a boss room, it's always good to travel, as much of the castle as you can before entering the room because, again, you need to be as strong as possible when facing bosses. Occasionally, you're going to find a boss that is just really, really hard for you. Either it's got moves that you can't dodge, or it's just ultra powerful. And oftentimes, you won't expect it. See, here we're able to traverse over to the right side and get our hands on the whip sword. The whip sword has the same power as the weapon I just have, but look at the range on this thing. This really will help us in defeating the next boss. There we go. So this is the great armor. Look at me throwing the cat out and just dealing tons of damage with it. We'll kill this guy in no time. You need to watch out for its sword. Again, with the first two bosses, you want to backdash. Occasionally it might stick and jab its sword out at you, which can deal tons of damage as you've seen, but if you get used to its pattern, it shouldn't be too hard. The shield will block all close attacks, so you have to really use weapons like the whip sword to penetrate the shield and deal damage to the armor. Ah, there we go. Not too much trouble there. I decided to trade out the silk robe for the iron plate due to the huge boost in defense. And finally, we get access to the shop now. Hammer is our shop owner for the game. There's always one per Castlevania game. They're usually located in the beginning, as in the case with this game. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're actually in the middle of the castle. Sometimes they're in places like the library, such as Symphony of the Night. This guy hangs around in the beginning of the game. So if you ever want to buy items, all you have to do is just travel to the very beginning. Also, your little girlfriend over there in the beginning who you left behind, she can heal you, which is always very useful. Of course, save points do the exact same thing, but anyhow. And that does it for this part.